Oh yeah, what's up everybody? Oh my goodness gracious. Happy Sunday. Happy Metal Sunday. That's what I'm talking about. No better way to get my Sunday started. And I do know that it's been a while. There you go. Get off on that a little bit. Yeah. I do know it's been a while since I have been on, but I've been super, super busy. Everything kind of hit me at once. I had midterms for my classes. My professors being totally brutal on closing out the semester with double lectures, final projects, coming off of the midterms. Oh my goodness, it's been really stressful actually is what it's been. But anywho, I'm back on and I appreciate everybody tuning in to Metalhead Michael. And there's a lot to get to, so let's get right to it. The answer to the previous trivia question was Ann Wilson from Heart. Believe it or not, that was the 1970s lead singer who was featured on Disturbed's latest record, which might have gone under the radar. But that was the point of the trivia question, to see who was paying attention and so forth. I'm just ripping up my notes here, trying to get them all organized on my table. So yeah, it was Ann Wilson from Heart. Great album, great song. Want to do a review. There's a lot to get to, so I'm going to jump right into it. Want to do a review of the breakdown of the Whitechapel show, which kicked off my concert season in the Ritz in Raleigh a couple of weeks ago. This was a great show as far as the music was concerned. It was an absolute disaster as far as organization was concerned. This was the first show of this tour. And so there's a lot of glitches and bugs to work out. And boy, did it show at this venue. So I got there reasonable time before the first band came on for sure. But as soon as I walked in, I did what I usually do, which was go to the bathroom. And then I went to get a beer. And then I went to get into the merch line. Now, the merch line, let me tell you about this, folks. It was so unorganized. It was wrapped around to the outside back end, and it went in a couple of circles in that capacity. So, long story short, I ended up waiting for like 40 minutes to an hour in the merch line. Opening band came out, played, finished. The second band came out by the time I got to where I needed to be, and I was just not pleased with the way that it was organized. Initially, there was a guy who was trying to organize the line, but I don't know what happened to him. He either dozed off or meandered off, and then we were left to kind of fend for ourselves, and people were jumping in line. The opening band came on, so we had to actually weave the merch line in and of between like the mosh pits, circle pits, and so forth. It was it's an absolute disaster. And part of my whole spiel of going to these shows is going, getting merch. That's my half of the reason why I go, actually, is to collect merch, collect shirts and so forth, and koozies and anything I can get for the bands that I like. So it was a disaster. People were cutting in line. People were fighting. It was not very organized. So by the time I get up to the merch table, the woman who was running the 200 Stab Wounds, which was one of the opening bands, great band, 200 Stab Wounds, running their merch table, I had been listening to them and viewing them while waiting in the merch line, and I thought, man, this is a really good band. I'm convinced I'm going to get one of their shirts when I get up there, if and when I ever get up there. I asked for a 3X, and she purposely gave me a 2X. And what I noticed was I noticed it right off the bat, got my glasses out, looked at the tag. I said, you just gave me a 2X when I asked for a 3X. I specifically asked for a 3X. So she reached under the table and instantly gave me a 3X. So I knew that she knew what she was doing. She was trying to pass off 2Xs. It was the first show of the tour. So they're trying to conserve 3Xs, the large size shirts. So she was doing this kind of stuff on purpose. And so I told the guy in front of me, I said, check your shirt size. Because I knew that he had ordered a 3X too, because I heard him, because he was standing in front of me. And sure enough, he'd gotten a 2X. So I encouraged him to go back, and she was pissed. She was royally pissed that we had busted her. So that was a disappointing aspect of the merch line. And 200 stab wounds. When I got to Brand of Sacrifice and Whitechapel, I didn't have any problems. They were pretty much straightforward and honest about everything. So then all was said and done, I finally got out of the merch line, and 2 bands had already played. So I was ready for Brand of Sacrifice, which came on before Whitechapel, and then, of course, Whitechapel was the headliner. So it was a little unorganized. I wouldn't say it was they oversold the show, but I would have liked to have seen better organization for sure, and I hope I don't have to go through something like that the next time I go to a concert, which is coming up in April, this month, actually. And I'll get into that later. But I hope I don't have to experience anything like that again. Because one of the reasons why I and any metalhead goes to shows like that is to watch the freaking music, watch the bands play, not sit in a merch line that weaves uncontrollably in and out of circle pits and other people who are cutting in and out of lines. It was so disorganized. And there was nobody doing anything about it. We basically had to kind of police ourselves. So, yeah, I was not happy with that at all. Overall, Whitechapel put on an incredible show, and I've got, hey, my dog joined me. My little Chihuahua joined me up on the table here on the production table. My high-tech production show table, by the way, which is like a table and a laptop and a couple of beers. That's my high-tech. Come on, you got to get down. I love you. I love you. You got to get down. I'm sorry. Come back up later. Anywho, my dog interrupted me. Sorry about that. So I hope that the Ritz, which is where I went to see Whitechapel, I hope that gets better. Whitechapel put on an incredible show. They have like 4 guitarists, if I'm not mistaken. It's just saw away on deathcore metal. And of course, this guy, the lead singer, who I mentioned in my previous post, has got this guttural vocal that's just incredible. It just blows everybody away. 200 Stab Wounds and Brand of Sacrifice couldn't hold a candle to this guy when he came out. So, yeah, the music was great. And 200 Stab Wounds, which I had never heard of before, look them up if you get a chance. These guys were really, really good. I don't usually get into deathcore metal. I'm into Whitechapel, but these guys were really, really good. And I enjoyed the show, enjoyed the music, did not enjoy the organization. So there you go. That's my take on the Whitechapel show. Hopefully better things to come for April this month. Want to go over Dreamville. Dreamville is kind of an R&B pop rap concert that has come to Raleigh in the last maybe, I don't want to say 4 or 5 years, maybe longer than that. But actually this weekend is their last performance under the Dreamville brand. Now, when they initially announced that, hang on, I got to take a sip of beer. When they initially announced that, the idea was that Dreamville and the whole concert aspect of that weekend, first weekend of spring, was going away completely. Later on, they said, no, it's not actually going away. Just the Dreamville brand is going away. So It's the last show of this year under the Dreamville, like I said, the Dreamville brand, and I'm wondering where if and I know this has got nothing to do with metal because Dreamville is R&B, pop, rap. So, but I'm wondering what the next venue booking is going to be for Dick's Campus and for that weekend. And I'm praying it's going to be something metal. I think it's way overdue for this region because when you have festivals and 2 or 3 day weekend type of events, they usually go to Charlotte. I think Raleigh's overdue for something like that. We've had Dreamville the last 4 or 5 years. It's been successful. I don't know all the details as to why they're not continuing that brand anymore, but I would like to see like a Mayhem Festival or a Carolina Rebellion type of an aspect come to Raleigh and land that Dick's booking for sure, that Dick's Park booking. I just think it's way overdue. And I'll take something like Lollapalooza where there's a mixture, of heavy metal and pop culture, popular stuff. I'll even take that over a total metal show. But I'd like to see a metal show kind of dominate that venue. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for this area because that is in the immediate Raleigh area. And Dreamville has been good to Raleigh. I don't know why they're discontinuing it, but they are under that brand. So that is that. April shows coming up. Oh my goodness. April shows are going to be rocking, going to be kicking ass. Folks, check this out for my shows. I've got Disturbed, which is going to be quite possibly one of the best shows of the year as far as I'm concerned. That'll be at Lenova. And I don't care what y'all say. I'm into like mainstream commercialized metal music. I think I'm into all kinds of metal music. I'm a metalhead and I am into Disturbed and I'm glad that they're coming. It's one of my favorite bands. I have a huge tattoo of them on my leg. So that is a week from Monday. That's April 14th. That's coming right up, folks, and I am not going to miss that. It's the 25th anniversary of the original Disturbed album in 2000, and they're also going to play a bunch of their hits as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we have Machine Head and Lacuna Coil coming up at the Ritz. Again, hopefully that'll be a little bit more organized than the Whitechapel show was. But that is going to be an incredible show. And quite frankly, Lacuna Coil is the only reason why I'm going. I mean, Machine Head is in and of themselves, right? And that's going to be like icing on the cake. But I'm really there to see Lacuna Coil. And there's about 2 or 3 other bands that are playing as well. So it's a full booking show. And it was reasonably priced, and it's at the Ritz, which I do love, despite my Whitechapel 200 stab wounds experience. I'm still looking forward to that. Later on in the month is Ice Nine Kills, which is one of my all-time favorite bands. This band is like a concept band, like Ghost, and they have based their whole concept in their band and their really good music on like horror movies and so forth. And that's not entirely what they're built around, rather. But their first couple of albums was definitely built around like the horror movie category, and I really like what they have to offer. They are playing a 2-night in a row venue. I'm only going to the first one, quite frankly, and that's just because of finances for everything else that's going on in the month of April. So that's that for April, and I am totally stoked and looking forward to it. And I'm trying to stash as much money as I possibly can for merch and just for beverages and food and the whole experience, really, especially for Disturbed. Gotta get me some of that merch for sure. It's going to be a good night. That's kicks off the month of April. Concert season continues a week from Monday on the 14th. Moving right along, the Sex Pistols are trying to reunite after 22 years. And Johnny Rotten is apparently one of the forerunners of this whole idea. And initially, my feedback on that, my initial thought on that was, please no, let's not do this again. And after much thought and consideration, my conclusion is, please no, let's not do this again. I think Johnny Rotten has quite frankly abused drugs and alcohol so much in his life that he's got some kind of mental thing going on. He just cannot get along with anybody. He's always got to adhere to this, rebel and be loud and be obnoxious type of persona. And I think it's just a persona, quite frankly, and I think he harps on that, and he takes it to a level that's really just unrealistic, quite frankly. And I don't see... It's a limited United States date tour to begin with, and I really, quite honestly, I don't see Johnny Rotten, which is the only really, surviving band member, as far as I know, who's going to be in the Sex Pistols. I mean, some of the other guys might be in there, but I don't see Johnny Rotten, quite frankly, making it past like the first night without causing some kind of controversial trouble that's going to upset everybody. I sure as hell don't see the whole tour making it all the way through. So that's my take on that, and I think they'd be better off. It didn't happen. It didn't happen in the 70s. It didn't last in the 70s. Didn't last 22 years ago when they tried it the first time, and I just don't see it happening or surviving or lasting this time over. Again, who are the people going to the Sex Pistols reunion show? I got to tell you, if they came to the Raleigh area and they came to a venue like the Ritz, which was like a local town hall type of a venue, if I had nothing else to do, and if I had the day off the next day, I still would quite possibly not go to the show. That's just my feelings on it. I'm sorry, but I think the Sex Pistols, they earn their right in the punk rock history, Hall of Fame for sure. They have, but they have, more than spoken for themselves in that regard. But let's not try and bring all that back. I just don't see that happening very well. All right, Dave Ellefson formerly of Megadeth, he got kicked out for doing some online stuff with underage girls, if I'm not mistaken. He recently in Loudwire listed his big four of nu metal, and I thought this was interesting. The big four that he listed were Korn, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, and Slipknot, in that order. Now, I got to tell you, Slipknot and Limp Bizkit, I do not agree with in that particular nu metal category for different reasons on both ends of the spectrum. Limp Bizkit I've never considered metal, really. The closest that they came, as far as I'm concerned, was $3 Bill Y'all, which was their first album, which I saw them tour and support in the Ozfest 1998. And they did throw down. They did kick some ass. But that's the closest they've ever came to really being metal or even nu metal. I don't know. I respect the music that they put out. They're really popular on festival type of tours. They are popular headlining. They're just a category kind of in and of themselves. Nu metal, I'm not so sure. Slipknot, to throw Slipknot into a nu metal category, I'm talking about NU-metal, to me is insulting. That's I just don't see that. Slipknot just throws down entirely too hard to be considered anywhere near the nu metal category. That's I just don't see that ever happening. Ever put Slipknot in that category. A band that I would put in that category that Dave Ellefson didn't mention or didn't even consider is Papa Roach. Papa Roach is the definitive aspect of nu metal, and I certainly think if there was a big four for nu metal bands, Papa Roach should be in that, and Slipknot should not, nor should Limp Bizkit. Korn and Linkin Park, I do agree. They are headliners in that category for sure. So there is some aspects of Ellefson's big four that I do agree with, but Limp Bizkit and Slipknot, come on now. Where did you get that from? I don't know, but certainly include Papa Roach in that for sure. Papa Roach, incredible live band, folks. If you ever get a chance to see Papa Roach, and you should check those guys out for sure. Do not miss an opportunity to see Papa Roach. They are incredible live band. You will walk away from a different perspective of Papa Roach and a lifelong fan if you go see them live, for sure. All right, the Bad Wolves have announced another kind of departure from one of their originating band members. So they're breaking up all over again, it seems. And I hate to... I mention this because I've seen Bad Wolves, and I really like them. I've seen the original Bad Wolves. I'm thinking with my old concert partner who we saw them with. I think it was with... they opened up for... what was that band? Oh, it was Asking Alexandria. And New Year's Day was also playing with them, but they were the opening band, and we really got into these guys. They were amazing. They were just amazing. This was the original band before the original lead singer left, and now they have announced a breakup. Again, they lost. Like I said, they lost the lead singer. Now the founding guitarist has left and parted ways, and I really hope and pray that these guys can get it together. Because I like the Bad Wolves. They are just a really, really good, hardcore rockin' band that didn't really play around with, when we saw them, they didn't play around. They just threw down. They got the whole crowd going, whole crowd warmed up, and they went on to really move beyond just being an opening band. From when me and my old concert partner saw them. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago at that show. That was at the Red Hat Amphitheater, which I hate. I hate the Red Hat Amphitheater. You guys have heard me make commentary on that before. But anyways, I hope they can get it together. I like the Bad Wolves. I've seen them before, and I really hope that they're not just going to be kind of a one-and-done band as far as the era is concerned. I hope they can... find somebody who can play the guitar, continue with their vocalists, their lead singer, and continue to be a really good band and compete. And I want to see them again, for sure. I want to see them get their act together and tour. I wanted to talk about the Fry Festival, and I mentioned this before in my last kind of podcast that I did, or episode of Metalhead Michael that I did. This guy was Billy McFarland. God knows this fraudulent character, specializes in fraud. Thank you very much. This loser, Billy McFarland. He was trying to put together the Fry Festival again, part 2, and he was claiming that $1 million tickets were being sold. That all kinds of bands are going to be playing. That it was going to be a sold-out show, just like he did mostly for his first Fry Festival, which was an absolute disaster, which was featured in either Netflix or Hulu. I can't remember which one. But anywho, I digress. He ran into some trouble trying to book a venue. I think it was in Mexico, Cancun, something along those lines. Well, his... and he ran into some pushback with his first booking, right? So he held a press conference to announce a second booking of a secondary location, a contingency plan, right? And that contingency plan has actually fallen through. The city and the town of this secondary place that he has booked, they came out with a statement that says, "We know nothing of this. We know nothing of Billy McFarland. This is news to us. And as far as we know, there is going to be no such Fry Festival held." So he is back to square one again on this whole thing. And I'm just going to tell you, folks, if you are falling for this, and you're even looking into buying tickets for this supposed Fry Festival that just got rejected for a second time as far as venues is concerned, then you deserve what you get. Right? Don't be fooled by Billy McFarland and the Fry Festival, and don't go through this again. Right? This guy needs to just go away. Talk about somebody who, I don't understand this guy. He apparently has to keep on going until he proves himself. You know, if you look at the YouTube of the press conference that he had, it just sounds like he's just got something to prove as far as in his own kind of sick and twisted mind is concerned. But I just wouldn't fall for this by any means. Just move on. Really. I mean, my God, dude, do something else. You don't have anything to prove. You've been to prison. I mean, you know, come on, man. Just you know, people I guess there's people that are falling for it. I don't know, but hopefully not. But don't even give this guy, like I said in my last episode of Metalhead Michael, don't even give this guy the time of day. Don't even look it up, right? Just ignore him, and hopefully he'll go away and he'll realize that people aren't going to come to, you know, his events and so forth. I know I spoke out against going to festivals, and I knew that I had told you that I had personally, I think this was in my first podcast actually, that I had started to wind down festivals just because of going through COVID, coming out of COVID, and getting more bang for my buck on a local aspect. Expenses, lodging, thousands of dollars a weekend, right? But there are two festivals that I wanted to mention that are noteworthy, that I am eyeballing, and I might possibly be eyeballing as far as maybe changing my mind about things. One of them is the Sonic Temple. Let's see. I got some notes on the Sonic Temple. Let me try and find them. Sonic Temple has Metallica and Korn headlining Columbus, Ohio. It is 4 days worth. They're opening up the whole field, the whole infield, as a kind of a general admission type of a thing, which I think is really, really cool. Could be a problem as far as crowd control goes, but Louder Than Life also is my secondary show that I wanted to mention, and that is from a little later on during the summer, September 18th to the 21st, just before everybody goes back to school, right? So they always have a big, huge festival traditionally right before everybody goes back to school. All the kids go back to college for the fall semester. And this Louder Than Life is 4 days long. And if you pull up Louder Than Life in Louisville, Kentucky, this 4-day show has got basically everyone that you could ever think of under the sun from a metal perspective. Everyone is playing on this 4-day weekend. Nobody is missing this festival. If you pull it up, it is an absolute amazing itinerary. It's one of the best itineraries and most amazing itineraries of bands that I have ever seen, quite possibly in my life, but definitely in a good long while. So Sonic Temple, but definitely Louder Than Life. I am eyeballing these shows. I want to see who can show up, who's going to show up, how they're going to be organized, how it plays out. You know, if they're going to be disaster shows. But I'm going to watch these shows very closely. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, and Louder Than Life in Louisville, Kentucky. These festivals could, in 2025, could change my mind for the 2026, my 2026 ideas and plans, because these are really incredible shows. I'm still held up and got a mental block on the expenses of everything, right? And having some of these bands kind of spin off on a local level and, you know, come to Raleigh at some of the local venues and getting the bigger bang for my buck. But you talk about really big festival shows in America. Sonic Temple and Louder Than Life are going to be two shows I'm going to be watching very, very closely. All right, folks, let's get to this episode's trivia question. Now, listen very carefully. I have mentioned all of the bands in previous episodes and podcasts that I am seeing this year. So the trivia question for this week is, which Grammy award-winning band am I seeing in concert this year? Right? Now think of everything and everybody that's coming to Raleigh, and then think of the run-of-the-mill of bands that have won Grammys, and you will have your answer there. So that is that, and I look forward to if you guys want to hit me up with answers to the trivia question or anything else that you want to hit me up with, future topics, or just make some commentary. My Gmail account, Google account is MetalHeadMichael4 @gmail.com. Again, there must have been a MetalHeadMichael1 somewhere because they made me choose 2, but it's MetalHeadMichael2 @gmail.com. And I'm also on Blue Sky right now. That is still just the single and solitary exclusive social media platform that I have chosen just for right now, because I got so much going on my other platforms. And of course, these podcasts and episodes of Metalhead Michael go out on my YouTube channel, which you can check out at any time, folks. Absolutely, for sure. All right, folks, I'll see you next time. And as always, remember to keep your horns raised. Always. Keep the spirit alive, folks. We are all we've got as far as metal is concerned, and I appreciate every one of you. God bless. Peace out. Ooh.